Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. This is the first of many training opportunities that we have put together for all of Student Services for the fall semester. This will also continue well into the winter semester. It's intended to be an ongoing experience every Friday. I am Lorraine Paffenroth. I'm the Manager of Academic Advising, and I am 1/4 of the training subcommittee. My members to my right are
Hi everybody, Chad Austin, Career Services Officer.
Holly Diamond, Enrollment Services. Aura Caceres,
stand up.
Compliance.
No. We, back in April, at one of our directors' meetings, Dr. Herbst brought forward the idea of investigating how we could provide consistent, constant training for our areas that would be relevant and supportive of our work with students and supportive of our work with each other. He asked for volunteers to form a subcommittee to begin looking at those types of opportunities, and here we are. We are open and amiable to anyone joining us, so if you have any interest in participating in this project, we would love to hear from you. Just wanted to give you a little bit of background about how we got here. First of all, obviously, it was Daniel's amazing idea, and we were very excited to be part of it. When we learned that it was actually going to be every Friday afternoon, we were absolutely astounded that that would be afforded to us, and of course wanted to be a part of something so so opportunistic for all of us, and so we jumped on board. We met April 18th to get the ball rolling, and we identified a goal. Our subcommittee identified training for Students Affairs Division that is inclusive, which means sensitive to different staff schedules and needs, collaborative, empowering, and meets short-term and long-term goals. So that was our goal that we set out to accomplish. We talked about a lot of different training areas just to get something on our calendar for the fall semester. You have that list on your table on the blue sheet of paper. Also wanted to let you know that this comes to us not fresh and new out of Daniel's imagination, but rather out of previous experience. Daniel has had experience at other institutions implementing this type of training with much success. So with that in mind, again, very excited to have this opportunity. We recognize that there'll be training days that not everyone can attend, and that's okay. We made arrangements to make up for that in the form of creating a Microsoft team in Office 365. I know many of you received an email invitation yesterday that unfortunately appeared to some to be spam. And we will definitely revisit that. In fact, one of our Reflection Fridays may entail me and probably Christopher Tucker, because he's experienced with Microsoft Office. But coming around and actually holding your hand and helping you through that process if we have to. The intent of that receptacle is to store information about these trainings, all of our handouts, all of our agendas, and of course, all of our videotapes of every training. So for those of you who can't be here on any given Friday, no worries. Everything you need to participate virtually has been made available to you. So that's how we got to where we are, and I'm going to turn it over to Auda's next. So the Auda and I make up 50% of the team, so Auda's going to share a little bit more with you about our initiative.
Never fails to have to bring down the mic. So as Lorraine mentioned, really the endeavor that you have, that you're a part of right now, and our sole focus is to really hear you. And you notice there's a theme here. When you signed in, we really want to recognize that there are people in the room who maybe for whom this is the first true training that you are participating in, and we want to acknowledge that. There are people who have received training opportunities, but perhaps not as a collective like we're doing today. And so where we're going is really to build on that. We want to make sure that this is not a unilateral project. We want to understand and hear your needs. There are people in the room that undoubtedly are experts in their fields and who can contribute to perhaps other training. So in terms of the structure, where you are is for the most part where the trainings will take place. But again, the signing, I already have a few recommendations just on observations. This is really truly the kickoff to a series of trainings we're going to have. And your voice is going to provide also a lot of insight for us as to where we go and what other things we can do to continue to improve and learn from each other. Did I miss anything? That was pretty much what we wanted to convey. You're going to get a survey. I don't want to really go into detail, but really please, we want to emphasize this is going to be a two-way street. So if you have recommendations, please see one of us, communicate it in the survey. I already know, like I said, things we can do to improve just the basic sign-in and other things. So thank you for your attention and, of course, support for my colleagues, the managers, because I know that this is, if I were in your situation and they told me we're shutting down for 2 hours, I would be like, what? But it's going to be good. So I hope we can have your trust. Oh, my. You didn't win a plus.
I didn't.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Chad Austin. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about what we want the outcome of these training sessions to be. I'm not going to go into, we've been into training all of 5 minutes, so of course let's talk about outcomes already. We want you to learn. Learning is a big part of this. This is supposed to be informative. It's supposed to give you a chance to get some information you haven't gotten before. We want you to grow. Again, the hope for any training is that there's an opportunity for growth and that, we all become a little bit better at what we do. I think we also hope that one of the outcomes is that we all get a greater appreciation for what each of us do and how we're all part of the same team and how we are all so valuable to HFC. Which leads me into my next point. This is a team collaboration setting. We want you to work and build together as a student services team. It bummed me out today that when people walked in, there were some people I did not know. We're all part of the same team. We should all get to know each other. And that leads me to my next point. Let's try and have some fun. Okay? I can already tell you guys are already having way too much fun. Calm down. It's supposed to be a fun event. We're going to have some different activities throughout the year that'll make it that way. So try and get on board with that. Hopefully all of you got a chance to grab the Fall 18 schedule. It's these nice blue sheets that are in the middle. If there's not enough, there are extras over on this side. So everyone feel free to grab one. I think there's also going to be one on the Microsoft location. Okay. The only other thing I was going to mention is how we picked what we picked. We had long talks about all these different things and what we thought the outcomes for the first semester should be, but keep in mind that if you see something that you think is sorely missing, we're probably going to try and get to it. This is an ongoing process. We didn't want to throw away all the big guns in the first semester. We wanted to spread it out over the course of the year. So with that, it's my duty to introduce our special guest speaker, the Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Michael Nealon.
I just said to Holly, how come you don't get to talk? It's because she gets to talk a little bit later. Well, I know I'm a disappointment. You were supposed to have a special guest that was supposed to be President Russ Cabaluna. So Dan thought, Daniel said, well, at least let me get a young, exciting leader in higher education, and thought naturally of me. So I think I'm old enough to be Russ's dad, which is pretty scary stuff. And then I also thought to him, you told him it was going to be like a special guest. So I was trying to get him to send you like, little emails every day, like, oh my gosh, I think it might be Leonardo DiCaprio, or I'm pretty sure it's Brad Pitt. And then of course I would walk in the room and you'd be just like, no, it's Russell Crowe. But because we get confused, all the time. It's funny. I was in the cabinet meeting when Daniel said to our boss, "Do you think I can have my staff stop working for 2 hours on a Friday to be able to do some training and teamwork?" And the answer was yes. And I said, "Russ, do you think you can help me get my team to come to work for 2 hours on a Friday?" Because, as you know, there's a big difference between your world and my world, okay? We phone it in. I really think faculty are behind the whole idea of online education. Anyway, it is what it is. I think it's really, really exciting. In thinking about what I could share when I was told I had only 5 minutes, which was sad because I actually have a PowerPoint on this thumb drive that is so awe-inspiring and would transform your worlds, but not. So I thought, let me take a short lesson. And sometimes I go to weird sources. The other day, Daniel was in my room and he was looking at some of the books on my shelf, and I let him pretend that I have read them all. Anyway, one of them was Aesop's Fables, and he didn't ask me why I have it, and I really don't know why. But I pulled it and I thought I do have a message I want to share with you guys. So here's some wisdom that dates at least from 500 BC. And I'm going to try to update the language a little bit. A certain man had several children who were always quarreling with one another, and try as he might, he could not get them to live together in harmony. So he determined to convince them of their folly by the following means. Bidding them fetch a bundle of sticks, he invited each in turn to break it across their knee. So think about what he's done here. He's gone out and got a bunch of sticks, tied them together, and gave them one by one. They passed these sticks around, and they'd all give it a try across their knee. Or they'd try to break it this way, or they'd try to break it that way. That was the job. Snap the bundle of sticks. All tried, all failed. And then he undid the bundle and handed them the sticks one by one to each child. Then they had no difficulty at all simply snapping them. When I think of teams like yours, I really get something out of Aesop's fable. We oftentimes think, and in fact, sometimes people expect, that we are capable and trained to snap bundles of sticks. But we're not. That's actually something that's really pretty absurd, to think that a college would hire and employ these many people and every one of us is capable of snapping a bundle of sticks. In fact, the reason why we're all here is because there's not a one of us that can actually do that. It does take looking at, let's change the opportunity instead of bundle of sticks. Let's change the challenge instead of the bundle of sticks. Let's take the student's need instead of a bundle of sticks. As we look at those things, each one of us has something that we can bring to bear. If we take those opportunities, take those challenges, take those needs, and break them down, and say, if you could do this, and you could do that, and if you would only, and if you would help with, and if I can get your input on, we would all simply go, snap, and it would be done. So Daniel and I dream of a world where that is how academic and student affairs work together all the time. We don't stand by and laugh and say, they're never breaking that bundle of sticks. You don't look at us and just say, you know, they sure have themselves a big bundle of sticks. Rather, we go about, let me have one of those sticks. And why don't we give another stick to this person? And I bet so-and-so would be happy to take a couple and bring them back to their place. I look at the sea of folks out here, and I can think in the short time that I've been here, how many very complicated problems we have solved simply because we decided that the greater good was doing the next right, loving thing for a student. If we keep that as our center, nothing can stop us. So I'll go back to a real tired analogy, and I'll just stop and end with this. And that's when Daniel and I had a chance first to speak. We looked at one another and said, we could be those guys where you have the left bank and I have the right bank. He wanted to be the Rive Gauche because he thinks that that's the sexy one, but I know the better restaurants are actually on the right bank in Paris. But in any case, we could be on the two banks and we could look at each other. Or we could talk maybe about even building a bridge between the two banks until we both realized that what our teams need to be is the river. The river. The river moves. The river accomplishes things. The river is the source of life, the source of truth, and for us, the thing that carries our mission. So let's work together, transforming lives and building better futures. Have an awesome time when you get these opportunities. I wish I could tell you that while you're having this time off, faculty are out there breaking big rocks into little rocks and making money for this institution, but that would be lying. They're all at home in their hammocks. We don't do a lot of teaching on Friday afternoons, but we absolutely are eager to learn what great ideas you come up with. I'll end with a little bit that if you look at your blue sheet, you'll see that actually one of your upcoming meetings is a summit. And one of the first things we decided would be good would be to bring the leadership, so the faculty chairs together with the associate deans, the deans, and the directors. What would happen if we put them in this room along with the leaders in student affairs? What questions would come up? More importantly, what creative answers might come up? And so thank you for thinking of us so early on in this project to be able to have that conversation. Give you a sneak peek. Two of the things that I would like to walk away with is a conversation about developing a one-year course schedule. So all students and faculty and all advisors and counselors and navigators and everyone else would be able to see, here's the plan for the next academic year. Now, we've got to find a way to be able to hide some things and make other things visible and negotiate all those things out, but we'll figure it out. We can solve it one stick at a time. The other thing I think would be fun to think about is, can we reimagine what a summer semester might look like if it were a single semester as opposed to 2 semesters, okay? But that's going to, all those things are going to have naysayers. All those things are going to be people sitting there tying bundles of sticks together saying they'll never break this. I'm telling you, we can take that bundle apart, we can break it, we can make cool things happen. I want to be the one that puts winter semester out of business. Think about what I'm saying. It's not that we don't do winter anymore, but who wants to celebrate winter? No. We have a semester in the fall. We have a semester called spring, all right? And then we have one called summer. We don't do winter at all anymore. That's a positive thing. So with that, help me put winter to rest, and let's build something awesome for the future. See you guys.
I like that. I like that fable. If I gave my family members a stick each, they just start hitting each other with them. When we envisioned setting this part up, we said we've got to do an activity. We've got to do a team building activity. And I thought it was kind of cool that we had these round tables. And Holly and I think both Aura kind of said, now you just watch how people come in. And right away, I've got my career services table in the back. I see the counseling table going strong. I think the enrollment services over there has got most of a table. We sit with people we know, and that's cool. You like the people you like, and you know the people you know. Let's see if we can't break that down a little bit with this next activity. Can I get some help with that? So we're going to start passing out some, believe it or not, bingo cards. We're going to do person bingo, but what we're going to do a little bit of a twist on it this time. You have to be in groups of 3. So it's not you just going around with your bingo card. It's you with 2 other people. Now, everyone stand up. Find someone you do not work directly with. Pair up in, groups of 3. Walk around. If you don't have a partner or 2 partners, raise your hand. Go out there and... Folks, hold on. You're going to need the instructions. Hold on. I probably should have saved the get up for the last part. Just keep in mind, this is not a classic bingo game, so if you get 5 in a row, don't yell bingo. We're going with total score, total number of cards, spots you can check off. Don't sign your own, and one person can only sign your card once. Groups of 3. Get in groups of 3, please. Move around as a group. Get somebody to sign off on as many boxes as possible. One card per group. There are cool prizes for the winners. One card per group. You guys can all have one, but only one person can sign it. One with all the signatures. Folks, if you're part of the team that already got all of them done, raise your hand. You guys got them all done already. Total score, not a bingo. Total score. Folks, this is your 2-minute warning. 2-minute warning. I actually brought a good prize for 3 of them. No, that's the one thing you can't do. Aura. Okay, just checking. Does anybody completed their sheet yet? All squares. All squares. Okay, we're still waiting for that first team to get all squares done. Big prize on the line.